am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Welcome to another Disney discussion, and today there is no place I'd rather be than with my co-hosts, Mike and Megan Burton and Ria Carrogan, talking again about Disney. Hello, guys.
Hello. It's fun being introduced as the Burtons now. That's good, isn't it?
I
think it's the first time we've recorded and you've been introduced as the Burtons.
No,
I don't think so.
Well, I've introduced you as the Burtons.
Yeah,
so
you have because we did Spencer, but I can't remember if we did a Disney discussions after we got back from America. I feel like we might have done. I think we did.
We did.
Yeah, we just might have. We might have just called you. We might have just called you your first names.
I mean, I'm
just being very formal.
And I appreciate it. It's been the latest Disney discussion, first Disney discussion of the year, very late one. So that's probably why it feels like it's been ages. It's been about 6 months. So that's probably why.
We're like, oh yeah. When was the last time? Delay. But we've done it. We managed to sit down all together.
It's extra special.
It is extra special. We'll get into that. But Ria, welcome as well on another co-host. You're having some issues there for a minute, but you're back and you're online.
I'm here, yeah. I'm recovering from pneumonia. Still have pneumonia. Great times.
Why is everybody so fucking ill? I don't know what it is.
I really want some attention.
Right, okay, fair enough. You'll get it. You'll get your turn. But somebody else needs attention. So today, Ohana means family, and we're extending our little family to the person who arguably inspired this whole endeavour, inspired Mike to bring us all together in a Disney-style Avengers thing that we do every time. And we have brought in Natalie, no longer Hitchin, Natalie Knowles. Welcome.
Appropriate claps.
Oh, I can get used to applause, to be fair.
Yes. I forgot, so I'll do it now.
Do you want to do it really loudly? Because it's about...
You get applauded enough. I applaud you all the time. But yes, Natalie is here, and she's brought to us her idea for this episode was that we tackle Lilo and Stitch 1 and 2. There are other films and series and other stuff, but we were going to tackle those two specifically. And Natalie is a big fan. I bought her a gift not so long ago. It was probably a few years ago now, which was a Stitch-based thing. But Natalie, welcome to the show. Again, we've did our 4-hour feminist Disney villain discussion, which just became a free therapy session for me, I think, at the end, by the end of it. So
you went off on a tangent, didn't it? And then
we had multiple breaks. There was dogs going on. Andy was coming in interrupting. There was loads of stuff going on. So we stopped and started quite a bit, and I lost track of time. And then I got home and I went, "Oh, good Lord, it's 4 hours. Oh, good Lord." I think it was longer because I edited it down, so it was probably closer to maybe 5 hours potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of what Mike and Megan and Ria had heard, and they loved it so much that it kind of gave us all the idea to, again, combine and make this kind of Voltron podcast thing that we do, or Megazord, whatever your giant robot combination of choice is.
I was going to say, though, like, that second one then I'd never even heard of them.
Then look it up. We'll do some deep dives later. But we also covered we did a Goofy movie, so we did that, and that was it's its 30th anniversary this year. So yes, very very fun podcast. Not too Disney related, but we are here. So Natalie, before we get into all of our thoughts, the listeners want to hear why you wanted to bring Lilo and Stitch to the table.
Okay, so. I mean, Stitch is like the go-to at the minute. He's like pretty much second after Mickey, isn't he? I am a big fan of Stitch. I have a Stitch tattoo that's got Ohana and stuff. And the plan with my tattoo is it's covered in little butterflies. And every time my Ohana breaks a little, I just kind of add butterflies and stuff to it. So it's just like a lovely little... And it's such a cute movie. It's just adorable. He's cute and he's fluffy and he's an absolute terror. It's pretty much like having a toddler So, and I have one of those running around the house. She's not fluffy, but she's quite cute. So yeah, so why not? Let's talk about Stitch and Lilo and the whole Hannah concept and stuff, because it's just amazing. Like a really cute little film to talk about.
Absolutely. Who wants to give us a plot synopsis? Mike, you ready?
Oh God!
You put your hand up. You put your hand up.
I thought you were going to say.
That's why you don't volunteer until everyone.
I thought you were going to say first thoughts, because I wanted to chime in right at the start and say I've done a lot of research into this.
It's the only other white guy on this podcast who has to talk. So go on, you talk first.
And also, I'm getting over an illness as well, so I've got a nice, fun, gravelly voice. I want to say initially when we spoke about this in our little chat, I said about should we watch some of the other movies? Because I've actually seen all the Lilo and Stitch movies, all 4 of them, and I've watched all of the series when I was younger, which is amazing. The series is excellent. Maybe a future project in the years to come, because it's really, really good. But actually, the chronology, the timeline, is actually Lilo and Stitch, then Lilo and Stitch 2. Lilo and Stitch 2 is only a few weeks after Lilo and Stitch 1. Then it's Stitch the movie, which is essentially the pilot to the series. 2 seasons of the series, which I think is 67 episodes. Then Leroy and Stitch is the finale of the series. And so I'm glad we didn't delve into any of that kind of stuff, because the series has got like its own thing, and it's all about the other 626 experiments, not the other 625 experiments,
right?
The other 626 experiments. So it's really fun, and my favorite guy is Melvin, who just makes sandwiches all the time. But I want to throw that in there because I just think the Lilo and Stitch series is amazing, and because of Natalie choosing to do this, it brought up so many memories of Lilo and Stitch. I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching this a bit, and the series, and I was like, oh my god. So it was a lot of fun. The plot, in brief, you've got a 6-year-old girl called Lilo who is quite troubled, and her older sister Nani, who is an absolute incredible individual, is struggling trying to take care of her because their parents recently passed away, and essentially there's lots of trouble and things, and then Lilo wishes for an angel to come down. In the meantime, there is this intergalactic thing going on. Mad scientist, essentially he's creating experiments. 626 is Stitch, and he's meant to be the ultimate killing machine. There's a whole awesome starting battle sequence for 10 minutes, which is really, really awesome and sci-fi-y, and there's all these intergalactic politics and things, and Stitch essentially escapes.
You like intergalactic politics, Mike?
I do. Well, especially with current trade tariff stuff. Yeah, who's laughing at Phantom Menace now? I know all about tariffs and the Trade Federation and things. But essentially, Stitch crashes onto Earth, and he crashes onto Hawaii, and Lilo's one of the first people to find him, and then she essentially spends the movie thinking he's a dog, trying to essentially train him up, because she gets him from the pound, because she goes to get a dog, because Nani is trying to figure out what to do with Lilo, because she's quite troubled, and so they get Stitch from the pound, and then more intergalactic calamity occurs while they're trying to make Stitch a good boy and trying to bring out the good in him, while the aliens are trying to find Stitch and get him back. And that's pretty much the premise, without going into the depth of, I'm sure, many of our favourite moments.
Yeah. Megan.
Hello.
Hello there. So how are your feelings? What are your feelings on these films?
So I had never seen the second one. I only watched the first one for the first time
1 or 2 years ago?
Since Mike and I have been together.
Because of Disney discussion, I think Ria inspired us, because Ria's mentioned it, so I think we decided to watch it from an early Disney discussions.
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I wasn't massively sold on it. It wasn't my favourite Disney film. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't the biggest fan. I enjoyed it much more this time watching it round. Grammatically, that made no sense. I enjoyed it much more this time round, but
You got emotional at points. You did. There was a couple of points.
I got emotional in the second one.
Got proper teary. That's so beautiful.
I got emotional in the second one, even though I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can still get emotional.
At the end of it, and I was crying, and Mike was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I
Quite
was
saying,
like, I know that everything's going to get resolved in literally 30 seconds because it's a Disney film. But I was crying.
It's because, Megan, Ohana means family. That's why.
That's actually really good.
I can do really good Stitch impression.
That's the best one he's done, but he's been doing
I had
it
no
quite a lot
idea
over the past couple
you were
of seasons.
I had no idea you were such a massive fanboy of this film.
I know the experiments. I know the names. I know about Angel, who only appears in 2 episodes and a film. I know all about it, mate. When we were walking around Disney in America, I was like, why is Angel on so much merch? She's only in 2 episodes and part of one of the movies.
I went to Disneyland Paris with work recently, and a lot of the kids bought Angel cuddly toys.
Yeah. She's everywhere, isn't she? Because I genuinely I've watched the first two, and I've probably watched some of the series as well. I like the Leroy and Stitch one I probably hit my elder teenage years when that was coming out, so I kind of like missed that. But yeah, she's everywhere. Like they've even brought they had the hand puppet of Stitch, and they've brought out the angel one now, and I genuinely can't remember seeing her in anything. I'm just like, oh, Stitch has girlfriend, fair enough.
Yeah, she's got her own episode, and then there's one other episode where she kind of comes back, and that's kind of it. But it's like Disney merch. It's like, oh, they're big love interests. It's like they're not really actually. That's actually the antithesis.
I will say that the cuddly toy that you can get at Disney is fucking soft.
Oh, it's a super soft, isn't it?
So soft.
Oh, dude, it's so fucking soft.
That was going, but that was not what I.
So soft.
One
of my students bought it, and I was like, I'm not going to say her name, but I was like, blank. I was like, can I touch the cuddly toy? I want to see how soft it is. And she was like, yeah, of course you can, miss. She was like, of course you can. I was like, oh, thank you. I was like, yeah, that is really soft, isn't it? And she's like, it's so cuddly.
Do you almost say that's fluffy?
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to keep doing that.
Right, enough of Mike's weird impressions.
Great impression.
Ria, if you inspired Megan and Mike to watch, you must very much enjoy this or have some strong feelings on it.
Yes, actually, I'm sure I've mentioned Lilo and Stitch a million times. I love Lilo and Stitch. One of my favourite Disney films. I'm getting the joy of reliving it with my daughter, who is 6. A few years ago, she did not care for Lilo and Stitch at all, in any shape or form. Now obsessed. Watches all the films. I had to learn what order they all went in because she was very much like, this, you put this one on, this isn't right. Doesn't seem to be in the right order. Loves the TV show. TV show is just like proper banging. And the first film, 10 out of 10, no notes. Genuinely no notes. I don't know why I'm here. No notes.
That's right. Off you go. Yeah. I think I was a bit like Megan the first time I watched it. I thought it was fine. I didn't dislike it. Again, I didn't. It was what it was. But I was like, I think at that point I was kind of like, stepping away from that kind of thing or trying to get into kind of other stuff. But I think I saw it and was like, yeah, generally okay. And then I think this time around I really, really got into it. I think I liked the exploring of the kind of Polynesian, Hawaiian kind of culture and stuff. Again, after I love Moana so much. There's so much kind of DNA here for that. I feel like
I think Moana wouldn't have happened without success of Lilo and Stitch and all the movies and the series.
And I also think the non-princess films, or even some of the more princess films, wouldn't exist without this film, because this film doesn't feel like a Disney film. And I think that's why people like it so much, that it sort of came along, was completely unexpected it's sort of been like one of those sort of like underground films that, like you said, now it's everywhere because it's so outside of the mold of that classic Disney film. And the time it came out, Disney was a bit like, oh, what are we doing? Are we doing princesses? Are we doing other things? Like, where are we doing sort of like boy stories? And it just sort of cuts through all of that. She's clearly not a princess, clearly not white. It's not about finding love, being beautiful. It is literally about, it's pretty dark. It's like about two people trying to survive in quite horrible conditions. It could be up there with like Brave Little Toaster and making us all cry, and instead it just happens to be like a happy found family sort of not redemption, but a sort of, I can't think of the right word.
It's a big arc, isn't it? It connects on a human level, but also it came out, I think, at the time in the early 2000s where a lot of our favourite films came out. Atlantis, Lost Empire, Emperor's New Groove, things like The Treasure Planet, where Disney was just kind of like, we don't know what we're doing. Let's throw out random stuff. And everyone was like, what is Disney doing? And then Disney went, we're losing money on this, we give up. And then a couple of years later, when it came out on home release and things, people were like, these films are amazing. They were marketed terribly. And then when you actually, and I think that's what happens with a lot of us with Lilo and Stitch, is when you're quite young and you watch either it clicks, or when you hear so much hype about it, you're like, what? Oh, it's a Disney film that everyone says is great. And then you watch it and go, this isn't what I thought it was. And I think that's why on the second watch, for a lot of people, it really makes it better. And I think it's the same for Emperor's New Groove and the other films that we've spoken about on this pod, is like, when you get the expectation out of the way and you see this film for what it really is, it's really beautiful.
Yes, yeah, I have to agree. I think it caught me off guard as well, Megan. So I got a bit kind of choked up. And again, I've seen it. I know what's happening. I know what's coming. It's the same thing with like Coco. Me and Natalie watched Coco not so long ago. I think that was the first time I watched it, and we were both in floods of tears, like in front of each other. Like, oh my god!
I think it's like the older I'm getting, the softer I'm getting. Because I used to be able to watch Homeward Bound, and not a tear would fall from my face. Like no, like adverts will frigging get me. Like, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm obviously just emotionally growing the older I get. I care more now. I didn't care when I was younger.
Happened to me too.
Empathy now. I care. What is this? I have a heart. It's grown like a Grinch. It's just grown.
I know, but to be fair, if we're talking about kind of like the bit that probably gets me the most in the first like film is when he like takes his little book and he's in the woods on his own and he's just like. Yeah. I'm lost. And I'm like, and you just want to take him and hug him and just feed him all the things that he wants to eat and just love him forever. It's just the cutest thing. That's the bit that makes me sad.
I think it's as well, like, to speak to that, this film's only 85 minutes long. It's really short, and you do fall in love with every single character, and you understand the motivations of every single character. They're all so well rounded. And so I think that you can't help, for me anyway, I just cannot help but fall in love with every single one of them. I think even Nani and her like love interest, like there's nothing there that is like creepy or you think is like Disney unsettling, and he doesn't love her just because she's she is beautiful, but like because she's a princess or she's something to be obtained, he just loves her, including all of her faults. He loves Lilo and all of her faults, and he begins to love Stitch with all of his faults. And it's kind of like, and you even get that with Bubbles, and you even get it with like the aliens and all of that sort of stuff. And so it's astonishing it can do that in such a short amount of time. So the storybook, the Ugly Duckling storybook's really early on in the film, and they're already hooking you, Natalie, to be like, we're about to emotionally destroy you.
Yeah. Chekhov's duck. That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah. Again, like I think it's something. There's something about obviously it's about family, but I think it's about kind of being an outsider and feeling not that you quite belong. I hate that little white girl. I hate her.
Oh, she's a dick.
Oh, she's
still such a bully.
She's
She
got
gets worse
like
than the second one.
she's got.
It bothers me.
What can you say? You are a bully. Stop
But
bullying
the
Lilo.
teacher always tells Lilo off, and I was like, why is this kid not getting told off? She's being an asshole. Like, it's all well and good that Lilo's like throwing punches, like she shouldn't be using her fists, but at the same time, the kid also needs to be told that
Don't mock her dead
like,
mum.
Stop being horrible. Like
This is a thing though. In like
If somebody said that to my kid, I mean, obviously I'd have to be dead, so I would come and haunt them and ghost punch them. But I'm like, whoever alive, punch that kid for my kid, please.
Yeah, this is a thing in like the 80s and 90s, especially when they had like a dead parent. There'd always be a scene of like kids bullying the kid about having dead parents, and you're like,
I don't think I've ever known anyone when they've gone, all my parents are dead, and everybody's like, oh, brilliant. Like, what?
I found the opposite is like, when Dad passed away, everyone was so careful. Even some of my douchey guy mates, they were like stepping around.
I have heard kids make comments.
Well,
really?
Megan's a teacher, Natalie, so she's...
kids are cruel. Kids are cruel.
I mean, the kids, they try and hurt. If they are trying to hurt, they'll just hurt any way they can. So it's just, it's a quick jib at someone they don't like, and there's no second thought to it. Whereas like the emotional trauma they cause that actual person is like, oh my god. Like, to hear it, like you say, as a teacher, to kind of hear it, you're just like, okay, we need to.
That's a cool memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, she's horrible. She's nasty. I really don't like her.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, Stitch does hold Lilo back at one point, and he's like,
the killing machine.
You shouldn't hit her, and it is only when she mentions the dead mum where she goes, you know what, go for it.
I love that Stitch is like, fair enough, off the top.
I can see why. Yeah, no, I really got into this, and I really yeah, I really, I didn't think, I was going in like, you know, oh, this was fine. I remember this being fine, but by the end of it, I was like all caught up and like holding back the tears. Oh God, you know, it's like all the fun of family. Oh. You know, it was just, yeah. So I'm so glad like Natalie made us all kind of revisit it because again, I didn't know. Again, I had no idea that Mike was such an absolute fanboy of Lilo and Stitch. He's obsessed. He's obsessed.
I love it. Lovely. I even watched on the after the second film. There's a short film that they've got on Disney Plus, an extra, and it's the soft lead in to the series. Whereas the soft lead into Stitch the movie, which then leads into the series. And I think, I know we've got big plans next year, Dan, about Tron and stuff. Maybe in 2027, so still pushing far ahead, we could try and do. I would be so up for doing a Lilo and Stitch series watch. It is so good, and it's got so much heart, and it flushes out a lot of the characters. And David, as Ria said, David's a gem. He's so unassuming. He's so nice. But I one of the things I feel about this is there's a couple of lines in this which really hit home for me personally. One of them is when Lilo says to Nani, "I like you better as a sister than as a mum."
Yeah.
And you can see Nani is like one of the greatest characters in anything ever. Because she literally, apart from right at the start of Lilo and Stitch 1, where she has a bit of a shouting match, where she doesn't really say anything that mean. Lilo says mean stuff, and she kind of says almost the same thing back. Aside from those moments where she does apologize, she goes first to apologize to Lilo, but like she's the weight of the world on her shoulders. She's dealing with the grief of losing both of her parents. I think she's only like late teens, maybe early 20s.
She's a teenager, yeah.
Is she?
She's trying to support her sister, who's really troubled, while trying to do everything she can. She tries to get a dog for her, even though she doesn't even have a job at that point, trying her absolute best. You know, dealing with child services, all that kind of stuff, while her sister is fighting her at every step of the way. And she's still nice to David. She said, like, I just need a bit of time, and he lets her, and all these things. And it's wholesome in great ways, but also, Meg and I were discussing it, Nani is like arguably the first Disney character to be anatomically accurate.
Yeah, Mike was like, is there something off about the way that she's like drawn? And I was like,
very
no,
nice,
because
very
she looks like a normal human being.
But that's it, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
But that's it, because we... We've been conditioned, haven't we, to perceive Disney princesses in a certain way, and then the second we get something that's more conventional and average, everyday looking and correct, anatomically correct, that we go,
it leads them to like other stuff as well. That you think about, like Encanto, and everyone thought that they were going to like the sister that was the princess, and actually, like everyone, I cannot remember her name. Is it Louisa?
Luisa.
Everyone loved her instead, and like the song that she did and stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of perceptions and stuff. I think Nani's the first one to have a drawn muffin top, a little bit of a muffin top in a figure and stuff. But yeah, people just, I mean,
and even Lilo does. Lilo's 6, and she has an accurate body of a 6-year-old. Whereas you look at Frozen and you look at Anna and Elsa when they're young, they still have the princess body. I mean, obviously it's not like sexualized or anything like that.
I mean, they would topple over their heads.
They are slim
would just be like...
white girls, right? And unrealistic slim white girls. Like my daughter is 6. I see a whole range in the boys and girls of body shapes, heights, and all of that sort of stuff. And again, Lilo represents that. And even the girls in her group, in her dancing group, represent that as well. Like, there's no pandering to what we expect to see on the screen in a Disney film.
I think even all the way through, you look at like the male figures that are in it as well. Like, I mean, there's the guy that eats ice cream that just steals half the film.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
Poor fella.
He'll never have his mint ice cream, will he?
Couldn't even get it in the sequel, could he?
Series.
Yeah, he's like the cabbages guy from Avatar. Cabbages, ice cream.
Yeah, but even like the guy who teaches them the hula and stuff, he's like got a fuller body and stuff. Which is, I know David's kind of like a bit more.
I mean, David's hot.
Yeah, he is a surfer though, isn't he? He's a surfer, so that's kind of comes with the territory.
But so's Nani. But she's
true.
strong.
Yeah,
you know,
she's super muscly.
And she's got proportionate legs as well, because Meg and I were talking about it, and I was like, it's really good having a character who her legs are thicker than the rest of her.
Also,
her
well, they're
arms,
going to
like,
be because she
proportionally.
surfs.
Just that, but also in real life, your thighs are thicker than your arms, unless you're a weird triangle man who goes to the gym too much and doesn't work on leg day. Like, aside from them, yeah, don't like the triangle men; they're annoying. But like, and I really liked that. And I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I forgot. But seeing her Nani, I was like, she is also, without being overly sexualized. Or sexualized at all. She's a very attractive character, both physically and how she is.
Yeah.
And it's just done so well. I think the beauty of these films is they're so unassuming. I think that's the core brilliance of them, and that's probably why they take people a little bit off guard to begin with.
Yeah. It does kind of catch you unawares, because I think, again, it's not your conventional Disney characters. It's not your conventional Disney story, or locale or what have you, or culture, what have you. And I think you just go in, and I think because of that, and by the end, you've bought into the world and the universe and the music and all of this stuff. And then by the end, you're like, yeah, this is a solid Disney film, even though, again, it goes against and bucks the trends of many of the Disney films. And I think that's why it's successful. It's why people like it, because it is the unconventional Disney movie.
So what do we with the second one? Because I think the second one might be the only film I hadn't seen prior. I think because I think it came out so long after the series. I don't think I've seen every single episode of the series because back in the old days, you just catch.
But you're
what
such
you
a big
could,
fan.
I'm still a big fan, but that's the only reason I'm forcing everyone to try and to commit to something in 2 years' time is because then I can finally finish the series.
Mike, we couldn't even get one of these up and running until now. This year.
Life is chaotic. In 2 years' time, the world will be normal. That's what I've learned about the last decade.
Sure,
things will get less crazy. No, anyway.
2 years.
Yeah,
Everything will be fixed.
We won't be at war or the world or anything.
Everything will
We'll still be here.
Yeah,
100%, definitely.
Economic apocalypse or something. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
The second film, I looked online. I was looking at reviews, and the Lilo and Stitch movies, all of them, and the series are all really close in ratings. The series is the highest rated thing, but they're all really close. And I hadn't seen Lilo and Stitch 2. I think again because where it came out a few years after, I maybe was just that age where I hadn't seen it or what, but. I saw it was only an hour and 6 minutes long or something. It's really short.
My kind of movie.
Yeah. There you go. What did you think?
No,
of
Megan's not
Stitch?
falling asleep.
There we go. What did you think?
I think I fell asleep on one of them. Was it the first one that I fell asleep?
But we'd seen that before.
I got snoozy.
But what do you think of the second one, and then give it to the rest of the group?
I enjoyed the second one. I thought it was a bit silly at points, because I feel like a lot of it could have been resolved if people just communicated with each other. like if the aliens had just gone and said, "Oh, we're building this chamber. He needs to go in it." It would have been done and dusted. Oh, obviously they needed conflict and whatever.
Yeah,
but
of course,
I just thought there were certain elements of it that it just took me out of it a little bit because I was just like, "Oh, that's just silly."
Yeah, I think they
Everyone
needed a
just
better
needs to talk.
reason.
Yeah,
they need to be like if they said, "Oh, we need to isolate ourselves, and we need to work on this. We can't have any interference or distractions or something." Maybe something like that.
Also, one thing that made me laugh is that every time it did a zoom in on the on the meter of him losing his thing, it went again. So fucking quickly. It was just going, and I was just like, okay, yeah, but he's still he's glitching and stuff, but he's fine. But then every time you watched it, it was just like,
yeah. But that was the film you cried in, wasn't it, Lilo and Stitch 2? That was the bit where there's a fake out.
To give us,
yeah.
So
Spoiler.
Yeah, it's when he died, but he didn't obviously actually die. It's when he died, and then I suddenly was just like, oh no, he's been trying to be a good boy. I was like, he's been trying to be a good boy. And then I was just like, oh, he's dead. And I was like, yeah, but I know that he's not, because I know that there's other movies and it's a Disney film, so he'll come back. And it was literally 30 seconds later. I was proper bawling my eyes out.
Full on.
I was full on crying.
Wow.
I'm barely able to talk crying.
Mike was like, oh my God. And I was just like, oh, he's such a good boy.
And in the whole film, he's trying really hard, and Lilo is losing all patience.
So when he was colouring in that thing and he was going around and trying to be good, and he's colouring it in, and I was just like, he's such a good boy.
I like
off again.
I like when he's grabbing the old ladies and dragging them across the street, and then he goes into another house and pulls an old lady out of the shop and drags her across the street.
He's like, yeah, good boy.
Yeah, I'm good. Oh God, yeah. I think with the second one, like it's not perfect, but I think it does. I think it carries the essence of the first one. Like it has the feel, the music, there's an energy about it that even though obviously it's not a superior film and it's not as good. Like when I thought back to all the Disney sequels we did, the animated Disney sequels, we did Lion King 2, Natalie. I think that was the best one of the bunch because we also did Bambi 2. Good lord! And then
you loved Mulan too.
Mulan 2 was my favourite.
That was worse than Bambi 2. I'm standing by that.
Yeah, Mulan
2 was worse than Bambi 2.
No, I agree. I think Mulan 2 was the absolute dog shit worst.
What was the other one that we watched?
Aladdin.
Yeah, Return of Jafar. That was my choice.
You just wait till we get to the threequels. You just wait till we get to them.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Oh my god!
Wait till we.
King 3.
Special territory threequels, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know about that one. Can I veto any?
Straight to VHS.
You cannot veto anything, and nor can Megan. Okay, I know what Megan's choosing next. I'm sure you're going to choose some absolute crackers.
You're going to love it, Dan.
So
okay,
my next pick is not going to be threequels.
Yeah.
My next one's not going to be threequels. I'll save that for next year.
Okay.
But there will be
not live action
Aladdin,
remakes, please.
No, it's not going to be live action remakes either. God,
look at Natalie's face. Even Natalie don't like that idea.
Yeah, the live actions.
The live action ones are so bad.
Yeah.
I can't even get through them. Except I
Have
will
you
say,
even watched the live actions, Natalie?
So I kind of
that face. Easy.
I know it's like my opinions on this is so like I've tried to like boycott them because I can't like. We watched Pinocchio. We watched the live action Pinocchio, and I was just like, I remember just sitting there in silence, and Andy looked at me, and I was like, "Don't talk to me." I was like, because I'm like, you just can't. I was like, what the fuck have they done?
That's creepy as hell because Pinocchio in itself is creepy anyway.
Ria is on brand as not liking puppets.
Yeah, so it's about Pinocchio and puppets.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's because Tom Hanks was in it, and like I like Tom Hanks. He's like he's amazing, isn't he? Like everyone has a Tom Hanks film, and he plays Woody and all the rest of it. So I was like, we'll do Pinocchio, and then literally afterwards, I was like, I wish I never watched that. Like, wait, I want my money back. I didn't even pay to watch it, but I was just like, no.
compensation.
Compensation for watching it.
Give me
that money, Disney. But yeah, like we did Maleficent because that seemed like and it was
that was different, wasn't it?
I like Maleficent.
Maleficent 2, we kind of watched that, but then like I mean they're just churning them out. Like, and I know Stitch is coming out. I know Lilo and Stitch is coming back out, and potentially I'm probably going to watch that one just because I like the film so much. But yeah, I can't do them. I just can't do it. Every time they mention there's another one coming out, I'm like, for fuck's sake, stop doing it.
Like the Moana one's not happening. I refuse to believe it's happening. It's not.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
It's just not happening. It's not happening.
Hey, can you just release the second one? You've just released the second one. Why? Like, what?
How can you do that to Moana?
And the Rock's in it as well, and you're like,
yeah,
because it's a rock about the film.
It's a rock idea. It's a rock idea.
Not new actors, not a new concept. You're doing the exact same with the same guy in it, being the same douchey character. And I'm like, why? We're going to have Moana 2, which is already out, the live action Moana, then probably Moana 3, and then what? Are they going to then do a live action Moana 2? Is that going to be how it's going forever? It's like, no, please, I beg of you.
And then Maui has a glitch. That'll be the next one. And then Maui the series, because it will just I know for a fact they're gonna pivot towards Maui. I know for a fact. The longer this goes, the more it's gonna be less about Moana, more about Maui, because it's the Rock. That's what it is, which I hate. But yeah.
Let's not talk about live action.
Let's go back to Lilo 6-2.
Yes. Like,
enjoyed.
Can I ask a real life question? Is this how social workers work? Because I don't think it is.
No. So I used to work in social work, not as a social worker, but in social work for children. Absolutely not. not even remotely.
And he turns up and he's like, "I'm the guy they send when things are really bad," and I was like, "That looks like my flat. These are not. This is not really bad. This is my living situation. This is how
nails in the door, Dan."
You haven't seen my neighbours.
Also, there's so many steps before you get to that step as well.
Sure.
But, I did say it was 10 out of 10. No notes. So I'm not going to give any notes.
Now
on
the
it.
notes.
But not accurate. Don't worry, kids. Nobody's coming to get you.
You've got Ving Rhames playing him though, so you're like,
Yes,
the
amazing.
character doesn't work, but you've got such a cool guy playing him, and like the character is so awesome as well. And he's like, oh yeah, at the end, yeah, I'm basically a CIA agent that actually managed to trick all of the aliens that mosquitoes were endangered species to save the human race. And you're like, where did that come from? Moving on. You're like, wait, what?
He was at Roswell, and I love that because for kids. So now my daughter loves it. She doesn't understand that reference. Absolutely no idea what the Roswell reference is. And so, like, for her, she's just like, oh, he's obviously said something funny. I'm like, yes.
That's correct.
Clearly, you're going to be a geek. You're going to enjoy that when you're older.
Yeah, I it was very odd because I was like, there's going to be some. I forgot that I was like, there's got to be something revealed about him, like he's an alien. Like I thought it was going to be revealed that he's like the big shark guy that turns up at the end. But no, that's Kevin Michael Richardson, the other voice actor. But yeah, I thought there was going to be something. But then right at the end, he's just stood with all the aliens very nonchalantly in the shot, and they zoom in or pan down or whatever you want to call it, and he's just stood there next to him. They're just like happy as Larry, and I'm like, what is going on? And then only then do they explain that he's like, oh yeah, I was a man in black basically, at one point, and yeah, convinced them of the mosquito thing. But yeah, like. Weird inclusion and very like and like he's watching them. That's the weird thing. I thought I was like, you're not monitoring the children, away from like why is he like? That's why I thought why is he sticking around? Is there something to do with the aliens that he's just about? And again, because he's got the Men in Black thing, he's got the sunglasses on. I was like, there must be something else to this. But yeah, I just thought there was going to be like a bigger reveal of that or something else.
Do you think the subplot is that he always knew that Stitch was an alien? And so actually he was there for the alien stuff.
Yeah, like he was going to be revealed. Yeah. And he was just like, oh, this is my cover, so I'll just pretend that I'm doing this. Yeah, it was a bit strange, but yeah.
He's not the best social worker. He's not getting great reviews on Trustpilot,
No. Pilot social work.
Is that how social work works? I
5
don't
stars.
know.
5
if
stars.
he says it, I'll believe it. But
I threw a book at my social
I used
worker.
to work because there are Trustpilot reviews.
Oh,
which is not it's the whole thing. It's not going to that.
No. But yeah, like I threw a book at my social worker and he walked away without harming me. 5 stars. Oh dear.
Well,
yeah.
I want to know. I want to hear more from Natalie because she's the one who set us on this journey. And do you have any favourite characters or moments or anything in particular outside of the stuff we've already spoken about? Anything that really draws you to this movie that you just love?
Do you know what? I mean, to be fair, can you remember the marketing when it very first got released, like way back in the day?
He was like invading people's posters, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, and he was just like I remember there was a bit where it was like it looked like it was Aladdin and they were on the magic carpet, and then the next minute he's like I can't even remember what he's doing, like probably pulling the strings, the tassels apart. I'm not sure what it was. Him as a character, I mean, it's the constant thing of like he needs to change and he's trying to find someone and all the rest of it, isn't it? Like, yeah, the whole concept of it. I mean, even going into the second one and he's like trying to decide whether he's good or not. And like, I text Dan when I was watching it the other day and I was like, oh, it's the internal struggle of, am I a good person? I was like, am I good? Am I really good? Oh my God, I'm doing, like, you do one thing and you think you're doing the right thing and it turns out that it's not. And it's just, yeah. And it's, I don't know, there's just so much about it. Lilo is just the weird little girl that I was. I think that's why I probably liked it so much. Like the Pudge the fish stuff at the beginning, the fact that Nani tells her like one of her managers was like had a legion of the undead or something like that, and she's just like, I knew it, and I'm like, yeah.
I don't want to join the vampire legion. Yeah. That's why I quit the job.
I knew it. But like, I think it just resonates with you, doesn't it? Because like I said, we're all like little misfit kind of. Assuming that you lot were all little misfit kind of people.
I was going to say I was Lilo. That was me, the weird little kid. Yeah. That was me when I was younger.
Natalie, I still am a misfit.
Yeah, you're in the right crew.
Nothing's changed.
We find each other, and that's what happens in life. All the misfits just kind of end up finding each other.
Little gremlin energy we've all got. Proper gremlin
You
energy.
walk in the room, you're like, there you go, missed it right over there. Let's go and hang by that person. But yeah, and like she does, and it's nice that she. I mean, to be fair, when I was a kid, I was never allowed a dog, so the fact that she got a dog and stuff, I was like, oh, I just want to be Lilo. She gets like a dog alien person thing. That's like, yeah, she was just me, and I think it's just a reflection of yourself, isn't it? You find that. And it's just like the relationship with Nani is hilarious and sad and just, yeah. Just everything about it. Like, again, same as Ria, 10 out of 10. No notes from me. Like, it's just.
I think that was Megan as well, because Megan always wanted you always wanted a dog when you were young.
Yeah, getting Willow is the happiest day of my life.
Yeah.
That's our dog, to clarify.
Yeah.
Did you?
I mean,
Did you?
Audience in that.
When you were saying that you were, so I watched, because it was on an hour and 6 minutes, but I took an extra long lunch the other day and watched it on my lunch break, and I fully teared up when Stitch died because like it's a pet and stuff, and obviously we've had a pet loss in the house, and it's just been absolutely devastating. So like it's that as well. You just think, oh my gosh, I was in floods of tears myself, and then was like, and then again, you know that it's gonna, and I'm like sat there going, he's gonna be fine, he's gonna be okay, and then he is, so you're like,
It's literally seconds after as well.
No, and it's just, and I was just sat there going, it's okay, he's gonna be alive in a minute, it's fine. But
It's
yeah,
also how Lilo takes it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like she's very grown up about it, and like so there's a lot just to make everybody sad. You know, like obviously we know that she's lost her parents, and she's so grown up in the way that she takes him dying that you're just like, holy shit, they're putting this in a kids' film. Like, so we're just not used to it.
no, I think that's like a really good thing though, because they don't like you don't put that stuff in kids' film because you don't expect them to kind of react like that, do you? But like the fact that she does, it's amazing. Yeah, just like brings the whole grief thing into it and stuff as well. So it's just lovely. It was
Yeah,
like
I think
for an hour long that should have been probably straight to DVD film. Like it's like one of the best that I've like watched. I think I said to Dan, I was like, I can't remember if I watched it. I think I blocked it from my memory. I wasn't too sure. And then as soon as it came on, I was like, oh no, I definitely watched this quite a lot.
Yeah, I was
It's
like, when
the-
you said that, Natalie, I was like, I'm worried now you've said that. Oh, not Mulan 2 again.
I can't remember watching it, and obviously I watch Lilo and Stitch is my go-to film if I'm bored, if I'm sad, anything. Like if I've just had a really shitty day, I'll put Addie in bed and be like, oh, I've got a spare hour and a half. I just put Lilo and Stitch on. Like it's just one of those films. It's just your go-to, innit? It's comfort, like a little comfort blanket. And then you get really sad with it, and then Elvis plays, and you're just like, yeah, I'm all right now. Sorted.
Well, the second film has that. Before the film Elvis came out, the biopic, it had the most amount of Elvis songs in it of any film ever. Before the Elvis biopic, which I think was crazy. Sorry, Megan, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say about like the grief thing. I think it's really important that it's like mentioned because I feel like in like British culture especially, there's not really a mention of death. I think it's a very taboo topic. It wasn't something that I ever spoke about growing up, and I find the concept of death quite difficult. Like when like Mike and I have spoken, like the idea of like pets passing away, I can't deal with that. And so like it is something that I think is super important, which is why I really value films like Coco, films like this, that openly talks about that kind of stuff, because it's really important. That's why, like, especially with Coco, and I love teaching about Day of the Dead, because it is part of their culture. Death's not a horrible, scary thing. Like, obviously it's sad, but it's something that you should celebrate the life of people, and being able to have the opportunity to actually talk about that and see it on screen, especially for kids to be able to see it, allows for that conversation to happen, which I think is really important, being able to do it at a young age. Because, like, for me, the first person that passed away for me was like the first person of like real significance was only in 2018, because both my like maternal grandparents passed away in the same year. And like
we met, wasn't it? So
yeah,
it was a very different year for you,
my granddad passed away in the February. I met Mike in July, and then my nan passed away in the September. So like for me, it was really, really difficult because it wasn't ever something that was discussed growing up. So I think it's like so goddamn important being able to have that in a kids film, so that it allows for that conversation to happen. Because otherwise, it's just something that's brushed under the carpet. It's not ever something. that, in my experience within the UK, is ever something that's really spoken about.
Apart from in really horrendous situations, like in Bridge to Terabithia, which is just a horrendously
God, that film.
awful, it's an awful film, and it's one of the most depressing things I've ever seen. And that's the problem: is you kind of get some of these weirder, like mainly 80s movies where death is in it, but it's so quick and fast and or over the top. You're like, no, this is not really appropriate for kids. This was before a 12A existed. This is a 12A, and then you get other films which is like, they don't really show it. You get a film like Up, which is horrendous, but I think if you're really young, you may not fully
It's films like
conceptualise
Up
it.
and like Tarzan, where it all happens within the first like 5 to 10 minutes of the film, and then it's kind of just like brushed to one side and not really spoken about again.
Well, when I was a kid and I watched Tarzan on VHS, I used to remember just skipping through the first 10 minutes because I was like, this is boring. Whereas when it's in the middle of the film and it shows you without it being gratuitous, that's exactly to Megan's point. It's very important. And especially with pets, like, it's horrible. And I've had pets pass away when I was younger, and it sucks. But the silver lining of their passing is that in some ways it can prepare kids for the deaths of close humans. You know, it's a horrendous thing. They become part of your family, you know, but, and I'm sorry, obviously, Natalie, of what you and your family have experienced recently with yours, but the silver lining is that kind of prepared me to some degree when my cat and my rabbit passed away for some of the future deaths. So I think showing it in a film like this, where you get that moment of, oh, that's really sad. Oh, Lilo's really dealing with it in a certain way. And then it's like, oh, it's actually okay. We don't need to, but you still had that moment to think about it, like, long enough. I think it's really important.
I think you're right as well. I think it's like, obviously, like me not having pets and stuff growing up. So the first person that I lost was like, I think I was like 19. It was my nan, and that completely floored me. Like, because you don't have any experience of it, do you? Like, whereas, yeah, I think you're right. It kind of, and the British thing as well. Like, we just don't talk about it until it's like in your face, or you're actually dealing with it and stuff. So it's nice to have those elements within a film that you can go, oh, people have to deal with this kind of stuff, and this is like, that's how they deal with it. And yeah, just to kind of get a glimpse at it, it's mad.
And then Stitch comes back to life.
Yeah.
30 seconds after he dies.
It's
Okay, it's fine.
And it's all happy again. And then we
It's
can all
okay.
smile and get into the rest of the Lilo and
Yes.
Stitch
No,
franchise.
I agree. I do agree. I think but I think it does tackle some very like serious issues like parenting and whether you're capable and like Nani like does kind of decides to do kind of almost, you could argue, the right thing by she feels she can't provide the care that Lilo needs. And she says, I'm going to have to give you up, but it doesn't feel like it right now, but it will be for the best. And it's like absolutely heartbreaking. And she sings to her and that moment. And I think we've got the flowers going and everything. But yeah, like so like heart wrenching and like just like that, how hard life is as well, and how difficult it is to balance all this kind of spinning plates and to maintain your, while you're working and like her looking for a job, I found was hilarious because she gets everyone going like, coconuts on my life or whatever job she was
Everyone
going for.
that goes for an interview, concierge,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's very, very relatable, and I like the dark humor and the kind of adult jokes in it, which kind of makes sense. Again, like these, it's not like Lilo's not your nicey nice kid. She's talking about like zombies and vampires and having like depression and painting like Pablo Picasso blue periods and things like that.
What's Roll knows about blue period?
Yeah. I thought she.
Well,
I thought she was
I
going
think it's because she's neurodiverse, right?
Yeah,
If
definitely.
you think about it,
I
she's
can
got
see
lots
that.
of special interests.
Yeah.
So you have trouble connecting with children her own age, with her peers, and that's not just because her parents died. That seems to be a thing in general. We see that she can't contain her emotions. She's quite destructive and then feels bad about it afterwards. I mean, I know I'm not the first person to say it. I'm not going to pretend it's my theory, but it's kind of there on the page, and I know they've not explicitly said that she is, but if you think about when it came out and how we treated neurodiverse kids then, I would say it's not out of the realm of possibilities that she's not neurotypical.
Yeah, Nani's chronically overwhelmed. I can say that. Like that's her state of being is just kind
ADHD guy.
of exactly. Yeah, right. That's me. I've got it now, and I'm
Yeah,
telling
boy.
everybody else has got it.
Got it now.
I've got it now. I finally achieved it. I've unlocked the achievement. Yay! Great. But yeah, no, I 100%. I saw that. Especially, I saw that in Stitch as well. You know, he's not completely all together, and he wants to do this, and it doesn't quite work. He's trying to do this, trying to be something, but his nature is telling him he needs to be a killing machine, you know, or whatever it is, and be bad. You know, his badness level, his goodness level. So yeah,
and everything in the films tell us that otherness is not bad, and I really like that. That otherness is okay, and it's like Natalie said, you know, it brings all us others together.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in the TV show. It's constantly about bringing those people who don't fit in to the normal box together, and they don't have to push that message. It's just there in the text, and I really like that.
And the villains are the ones who try to push that. You've got Myrtle, who sucks completely, and she's the one who's like, you're weird and different, I don't like you. It's like, it's not, you don't define someone because you decide what's normal. And then when you've got is it Agent Gantu, he's like, and even the aliens, they're like, this Stitch thing's, well, like, let's give Stitch a chance to speak. Like, kill it. And it's like, whoa, ease up a bit, like, give it a chance. You've just got this creature that's seemingly only been born like almost yesterday. You've got it in a jar in front of like hundreds of things it's never seen before, and because it doesn't eloquently speak with English, it seems, immediately you're like, it needs to die. It's like, what? Well, because it licked a bit of glass. Because this weird dog thing licked a bit of glass. That's the reason to kill it. And then, you know, fortunately, the turn of the alien judge woman, who made me think of, I don't know, Helen Mirren or something. I don't know who voiced it. I should have looked up, but that's the vibe I was getting. You know, just a British, you know, dame almost kind of thing.
That's how you know she's an evil person, because she's British.
Yeah, the British people are always evil in these kind of films.
I mean, she's not.
She's not evil. She's just doing her
comes
job.
around to
Yeah.
it. She's reasonable by the end, but it is that kind of thing of like, oh, you can talk and you're what we define as being okay. We'll just leave you to
I mean,
it.
he was created by an evil scientist.
Self-described evil.
A killing machine created by an evil scientist.
He's not the least evil
But
scientist.
he's very proud of being evil. He
absolutely.
is like the Gru, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was
Come
going to
on.
say he really reminds me of
Dr.
Gru.
Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb, who's like trying so hard.
Yeah.
Phineas and
I love
Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb.
This, I think, again, precursor to
Evil
Phineas and Ferb.
Incorporated.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's David.
Incorporated. Sorry.
It's all right. It's David Ogden Stiers. So he was Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast. He was I can't remember the villain's name, but he's the bad guy in Pocahontas as well. And I think he's done a few other kind of. He was in MASH.
The one that
famously.
owns the pug.
Yes,
Is
that
it?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, so you'll recognise his voice, but yeah, he kind of a Russian alien. Bizarre choice, but yeah, I mean, maybe quite topical in a way. Who knows?
We haven't spoken. I was doing some research into this. That Pleakley and Jumba, right? Let's clarify.
Right.
They're a gay couple.
They're a happy
Like,
little
And
couple.
literally, yeah,
so,
watching.
go on, Natalie. Then go.
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, no. So, because obviously rewatching it with your adult head on now, because when you first watch it, you're like, do the thing where you're like, it's funny, and you have no idea why. And yeah, now looking at it and then watching the second one again, I was like, yes, they are definitely gay. Like the fact that Pleakley's always dressing up as a woman when he dresses up as well, and then like.
Yep.
And Jumba's always the man, and like I think did they call themselves auntie and uncle as well when they come
They
down?
do.
Yes,
I think
yeah,
get
yeah.
married in the series at one point as
Yeah.
well.
Well, yeah, like they're always auntie
Amazing,
and uncle. They
amazing.
come around. It's just and there you go, inclusive again. Let's
Yeah, absolutely.
Lilo and Stitch, 10 out of 10.
And they never mock. They never
10 out
ever
of
question or
10.
mock Pleakley for wearing.
No.
No one does.
No.
Like
It's
Nanny
just
gives her like a
like-
side eye. That's about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah,
David,
but
are you
it's
really
more that
trying to?
she's like.
Yeah.
It's not side eye that he's dressed as a woman.
No.
It's a side eye that they think this is a valid plan, and I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
It's every time he came out in a different disguise to try and get Nani to be jealous just made me laugh. It's when when Pleakley came out as like the
Matador thing.
no, she was like a salsa-y type
Yeah, yeah.
Hispanic dancer
Yeah.
wearing all black with a veil. I was just like, this is so silly.
Yeah, so I can tell it's you. Like the
So
only
silly.
side eye.
So
Is like,
silly.
the only side eye is like I can tell it's you, Pleakley. You are an alien with two tongues and one big eye. Like you dressing in different wigs, I can still tell it's you. But yeah, no one does. Even Jumba, he never. None of the main characters are really like overtly mean to each other for who they are. They just kind of are like, okay, this character's being like that. How do we, get out of this situation that's been put in by this character being that way? How do we collectively do that rather than just going, let's blame the character? The only time they kind of do that is with Stitch, but that's part of their learning to accept Stitch as Stitch is growing. And that's the through line of the story. Aside from that, They never do. And the only person who does that is Myrtle, because she sucks.
Yeah.
She's the true villain.
Yeah.
Is it in Stitch the movie when Jumba gets kidnapped as such? Because it's not in this, it's not in either of these two, but I'm sure that it's like they talk to each other's parents as well, or something like that. So he's trying to find.
there's a moment
he's
in
talking
this.
on his little thingy.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so coded as them as a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the thing that gave it away, because like was Pleakley on the phone and he was like, "Hi, Mum," and then he passes the phone over and he's like, "Hello, Mrs. Pleakley." Pretty much how Andy talks to my mum, to be fair. Hello again.
Well, that is like, I'm sorry to keep banging on about the series, but in the series where they kind of get married, is the whole plot line is Pleakley's mum is like, "When are you going to settle down with a woman?" And he's like, "I'm just happy being single." And he's like, "Let's find you a woman." And then they fake a marriage to Nani, and then they're like, "No, this isn't working. Let's fake a marriage to Jumba," and that's how they kind of get around it in a way. And it's in the episode Fibber. So it's like it's because all the episode names of the series are named after a new experiment that Lilo or Stitch like names, and one of them is like a lie detector-y one. So it's like this kind of thing.
Honestly,
Hey, don't come for me until you've seen the series, all right? It's ace. But like in that whole codes thing, it's literally like, here's a gay couple, and we're not going to make a fuss about it.
Yeah.
There is the almost stereotype of when you get a same-sex couple of two men, where you get the bigger one and then the skinny, more effeminate one. But again, because they're not shown as being overtly homosexual,
but also
it's
they're
not a negative.
aliens, so
Exactly, it's not like a negative stereotype, but it's enough of leaning into a stereotype people know about to be like, you could probably, and they're great. They're like, they become a family. There's no point at that Jumba and Pleakley are ever really bad. The first film, they're literally just watching Stitch almost the entire time.
Yeah.
And then right near the end, they kind of try and grab him. And then immediately Jumba's like, "Oh, okay, we'll help you out." And it's like, what? What is that turn?
That bit of the film where he like holds him up, doesn't he? And he's like, and he makes like one noise and then goes, "Oh, he makes a very compelling argument." And then it's like one of the best bits of the film, like brilliant.
one of my favourite bits with Pleakley is when he's like, when the mosquito lands on him, and he's like, "Oh, I've been chosen as like the special one," and then all of the fucking mosquitoes arrive, and I'm like, "You don't want them, mate. They're horrible little things."
Oh, cute! They've taken some of my blood. Oh god! Oh god! Oh god!
He's just swarmed by them.
Oh man, I had a lot of fun with these two films. Again, second one's not great. I don't know if we mentioned the plot of the second one, but it's not there's not
Too
much
late
of
now.
one. Not much
Well,
of
I
one.
think Megan kind of spoke about it
Yeah,
when
I
she
guess.
discussed it
Yeah, a little
vaguely,
bit.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Second one, Stitch glitches. He needs to be recharged because he didn't get fully charged because the alien galactic people stopped Jumba from being able to finish it.
Yeah.
And then they try and make a machine to fix him while Stitch glitches. Also, I saw an Easter egg.
Oh.
Was it in the first one?
Yeah.
When you're in Lilo's room, in the background on the chair, there is a Dumbo toy.
Ah.
I didn't even
Nice.
notice it. Megan got me to rewind to point it out.
I was like, "There's Dumbo." And Mike was like, "Well," I was like, "Rewind it."
54 minutes. 'Cause I wrote it down.
Dumbo.
There's a few.
Yeah.
So there's a Mulan poster on Nanny's wall. But in the second one, I noticed that Pleakley had so his shoes, because he's got 3 legs, hasn't he? So like 2 of his shoes are the same, and then one of them was like a completely different shoe. And he had slippers on, and they were like 2 fluffy white slippers, and then the third one was just like goofy, like a goofy slipper.
Ah.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, I was like, oh my god! I was like, yeah, because he's got 3 legs. Of course, he's gonna have a random shoe. Like, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
I think there's quite. I'm sure there's another one.
I'm sure they always hide Mickeys in there,
Probably.
don't they, as well?
Yeah.
There's always like a Mickey or
And
something.
they always
in
try
there.
and put that number in there, the one that's like the room for the animation studio.
Yeah, that's on a
Yes.
license plate,
Yeah.
I think.
I did wonder about 626 because I'm like, I think there's some like comic book references and Star Wars references in here as well. But I was wondering because the main universe of the Marvel universe, I'm going to go into my nerd territory now, is Universe 616. So I don't know if maybe 626 was like maybe a half reference or a wink or something to it. I'm not sure, but I imagine
That's a good
there's some fans in there in the animation studio which really dig,
But
Marvel
did you,
Comics.
Dan? Did you spot? Because I had to look these up. The old school films they watch. There's the two like the black and white movies.
Oh gosh.
So in the first movie, it's Earth versus the Spider in 1958, which is when
Oh,
you've got
shit,
like
I've seen it.
the tarantula
Yeah.
walking in a clear model village at points,
Yeah.
and then
Shite
then a scene where it's like, yeah, I'm sure didn't look good, and in the background you've got people running and screaming, going, "Oh my god!" And then there's a clearly a just blown up spider that's just recorded like a green screen or something put across it, and then the second film is a film called Them with an exclamation mark,
Yes.
from 1954 with some giant ant things.
Yeah, I think it's a Roger Corman one. That one, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Wow,
I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
so. I believe so. Could be wrong, but yeah, one of those big kind of 50s. Yeah, that's cool though. That I like that they included kind of when they kind of mix media sometimes. I think
And
sometimes
all of the posters of Elvis Presley were always actual pictures of Elvis Presley,
Photos.
like photos. They weren't animated.
they must have paid a decent amount for the Elvis music. I reckon they must have. There must have been a fair bit of money spent.
I
on
looked
that.
it up. I don't know about that specifically, but I looked up because Meg and I were discussing it. Why is Elvis such a big thing? And we looked up online and checked a few Reddit posts as well. And apparently in Hawaii, because of Elvis's movies and stuff, one of them which they referenced in the second one, Blue Hawaii, he basically, because he loved it so much, he put the Hawaii on the map in air quotes for tourist destinations, which I had no idea about. So actually also, again, this film made me look up stuff because I was like, why is this character so obsessed with Elvis? I was like, oh, Elvis actually is quite an integral part to a lot of elements of why Hawaii is known in the Western world in the way it is now. And I'm like, this film makes us learn. It's all about found family. It teaches kids. It's
going
such
off
a good
again.
movie.
I do think there's some really beautifully animated sequences as well, especially when they're surfing and they're doing the hula dance and everything. I think they look so gorgeous, and there's such an energy to them and a vibe, and it is almost like 3D animation to a degree.
The lighting of it is great.
Yeah.
With the fire spinning.
It made me want to book a holiday to Hawaii.
Hawaii is the one hot place I want to go to. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
I was
hot
like
places,
looking
always
online.
has been.
I was like holidays to Hawaii.
You can meet Dog the Bounty Hunter. He works there.
I'm not bothered with that. I just
Yeah, I'm
wanna
not
go.
mad about it. His theme tune's cool, and that's where it ends for me. Well, also I want to say this is one of the only Disney films, the sequel, where the animation is basically as good as the original. Because I was looking behind like some of the behind the scenes stuff about it, and it was like they made a specific effort to make sure they didn't cut the budget for animation, because one of the leads of the films is basically like whenever we make these direct-to-video sequels, you always cut down the animation, and that's one of the big critiques of it. That's what happened with Lion King and Aladdin, as we noticed, Mulan, etc. So they were like, no, we need to make sure that the animation of this is good. So I feel like when you watch these two films together, because they are so short, it almost feels like one film in a way, like two chapters of just the same film, which actually is quite a nice thing, rather than so many Disney sequels and sequels in general really feel like here's one brilliant complete film, and then here's a kind of crappy afterthought. And although, the plot of the second one isn't as good, it does still fit in with the theme, and it grows, and because it's such a short period of time afterwards, it's like, it does feel like it connects.
And it also doesn't retread the same sort of stuff. Like there is kind of development. The characters change, they grow. They develop in different ways. And yeah, but yeah, I think the tone and the music and the style and the animation all kind of blends well. Which is why I kind of forgive the story for not being necessarily as good. I don't know about I'm still unsure about the Pleakley jealousy subplot. I'm not sure if I was totally on board with that one, but it's there. It's fine. But yeah, I think it felt like a genuine sequel. Again, straight to video and only really an hour long, but it felt like it carried on the tradition and the flavour of the first one.
I think the Bleakley stuff was just for comedic effect.
Yeah.
And I think it was also, I admit it wasn't the best part, but it definitely showed a bit of like Nani's relationship with David, even though it's not like a formal Echo's relationship. The whole time, she's never worried. She can clearly see what's happening. The side eye we mentioned is like, she sees it and goes, okay, clearly I'm not giving David enough attention. In the prior film, she kind of put those boundaries in, saying, I've got a lot of stuff going on. Then they start to get closer again, and then she starts to withdraw a little bit because, again, she's got stuff going on. And David's just feeling a bit sad about it. And because Pleakley's reading all these girly magazines,
he's the
giving
problem.
bad advice.
He's the problem.
Yeah. And I think Nani can see that, and she's like literally when they're on the beach, and she's like trying to cool over it. And then Pleakley's like, oh no, he's coming on a date with me. And Nani's like, well, so you came to my work, and then decided just to tell me that you're going over here. And David's like, and she's like, David, do you want to come for dinner with me at 5? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, no. And it's just like she can see. She's like, okay, and then just walks away. But she's never angry about it. So I think
No, because she doesn't put up with bullshit.
no. So she's like, Pleakley's just being silly Pleakley, and it's kind of nice. That's like that's just who Pleakley is. Pleakley's into bad advice in these magazines for now. So I'm just going to kind of let it happen while David kind of realizes this isn't really the best way to do things. But she's never mean, she's never rude, she just kind of laughs it off, which again, it's not the best part of the film, but I think it doesn't really take away. And because it's done for comedy, it does add a bit. Also, it does bulk the film out a bit, let's be honest. Because the Stitch has a glitch plotline is actually only probably about 25 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
The main line of the film is actually not that.
With the length, I thought when I saw the length, I was like, oh, is this going to be like a grand opening for the series? Is it going to be like kind of a setting up for the series, like putting all the chess pieces? And I was like, when I read up on it, I was like, oh no, it's not. That's another film, or that's another thing.
Stitch the movie.
There we go. But I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did both of these. To be honest, I think there's a lot of fun to be had. And again, I went on a Hawaiian roller coaster of emotion.
Excellent song.
Yes, I love that song.
This I know I bang on about soundtracks all the time, but like because music just speaks to your soul, doesn't it? But like if you put that music on, it's just amazing. Like it can just wash over you, and you're just like, it's almost like I'm there.
Megan was singing to it as well.
Well, in the second film, it's exactly the same as the first one, isn't
Yeah.
it? So
Yeah.
It's been stuck in my head all week. Absolutely.
Love
Yeah.
it. It's not even stuck in my head. It's on an actual playlist.
It's in my head and outside of my head as well.
July from Goofy Movie.
Wow. Let's be honest. We've talked about those before. Those are all absolute bangers. All absolute bangers.
And that's what you need. But like, it makes it, doesn't it? That's kind of. It makes the film for you, like little bits, even the opening and stuff. With like, because it sets the tone for it anyway. So you're like, oh. This is going to be great because it's got lovely Hawaiian music that we can listen to while there's, and then fish and all the rest of it. And then straight away it changes. Like the opening scene when they do the hula as well is one of like, you have those moments in Disney films, like when Snow White cuts the rim off the pie and it's like perfect. Or like when they paint Andy's shoe in Toy Story 2 and it fits the entire thing. Like the hula scene at the beginning when they like move the feet and stuff. I'm just like, yep, I'm bought. This is it. I'm in now, like all the way.
Yeah.
Which is it's just lovely. I just like it. I just like talking about it. It's just great. Let's watch it again.
Yeah. Put it on right now. But like even like Mike was saying, that whole like intergalactic opening in the space opera and stuff, and the hyperdrive and all this sort of stuff, that also really works as well. Like we've got all this kind of emotional grounding with characters and their relationships and what they're dealing with. Very kind of grounded story. But then the kind of weird and wacky kind of space fun also really works and is really fun and gorgeously animated as well throughout all the kind of space battles. And you've got that big kind of spaceship at the end flying about as well at the end of the first one. It's I think they're definitely kind of bridging the kind of 2D kind of painted backgrounds, kind of watercolors and CG, and then like you said, real films and real photos of people, like just seamlessly. Like it's all in there and you don't even notice they're doing it, which I think is like just credit to them because of that.
And speaking of seamless, I think how they show how as back to talk about Japan, how Hawaii is, how cultural Hawaii is. So, there's a Japanese character. There's Mrs. Hasegawa, I think she is. And obviously there's such huge cultural ties between Hawaii and Japan. And I love that that's reflected. It's just these small, seamless things that they truly appreciate the culture in Hawaii. And they're not there to have sort of like a outsider's view of what Hawaii looks like and how Hawaiian people are. It is literally, we are sharing with you their culture, and it's just all done so naturally, nothing shoehorned in. And I think it's that brings it all together, and that's what makes it all seamless. Water is a character. The spaceships are made to look like. I'm sure I read this on Wikipedia, so it could be wrong, but I'm sure the spaceships are made to look like underwater creatures and things like that. And it's all about a celebration. They don't shy away from Hawaiian phrases and language and stuff like that, and children watching it just have to accept this world, and of course they do, because they're children. And I love that they don't pander to anything. They just present this world and everybody falls in love with it.
Well put. Right, well, I think we're coming to an end. I think this is a late one for most of us, so I think we'll...
Yeah, you can tell I'm flagging. I kept on getting all my words confused then. I was
not...
like, are we in Hawaii or Japan? I don't know. What's happening?
It's all right. No, I was looking at the time mostly, and more so than that, I was like, okay.
And me yawning.
Yeah. Yeah, that as well. But is there anything else we want to finish on? Natalie, is there anything else you want to say? Thank you for bringing these films again to our attention. Is there anything else you want to say about them?
No, apart from obviously, I don't know if everyone knows this. I think it's pretty wide known, but like the title, because Lilo in Hawaiian is torn apart, and then you've got torn apart and stitched back together. I love that, and it literally just encompasses the entire film, doesn't it? See, I learned things. I was what does Lilo mean?
Perfect ending. I love that.
Yeah, lovely.
Stitched it all back together there.
That's it.
But yeah.
Oh God, their little toys all stitched together.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's just. I mean, and that's it. I think like her whole world and Nani's whole world has been like massively shaken. So like, the answer is always get a pet, I suppose.
That's what we learned from this film.
You were so meaningful and lovely then, and I was like, it's too late for me to deal with this emotion. And you went, get a pet.
Just get a pet. It's fine. Yeah.
Not wrong.
But there's another thing I quite like is the way that they kind of quite proudly say that their family's a little bit broken. Like, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. It's okay. It's fine. Like, normalizes it. It's, we're not a perfect, nuclear family or, 2.4 kids or whatever. It is normal. This is normal. Nani's relationship, Lilo's life. It's all normal. It's all us. It's all human. So, yeah. No, wonderful way of putting that, Natalie. Right. Anybody else? Anything else we want to finish on?
Last thing is just the dog pound owner sucks, because they said Stitch when she was going to Lilo. Stitch isn't a real name. No dog names are real. Shut up. At least she did pipe down when Nani was like that. But aside from that, that's my only other thing to say. All my notes I've done is just in the dog thing. I was like, "Oh, get this woman," and then Nani was like, "Don't want to." And I was like, you can see this little 6-year-old girl who's like genuinely going through stuff, desperately wants a dog, and thinks of a really original name. And you can't call a dog that. It's like, what are you going to call a dog? Fido?
Howard.
Also, I had an issue with the hula teacher where on the second one where he goes, "Hey, did you know your mum won the hula competition? Oh, isn't she beautiful? Isn't she lovely?" And then 2 seconds later, "You can't be in the hula competition."
Yeah.
I was like, "You are horrible. That's not fair."
And then doesn't tell off the other kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Same again.
Yeah.
Fuming. It made me so angry.
Yeah.
I would say irrationally. It doesn't make me irrationally angry. It makes me outrightly angry. Rationally angry. Yeah, no, he really pissed me off in that bit.
Yeah, I thought it was weak. It was a weak man. That's the worst type of masculinity. He was weak. He should have stood up and said something. He should have done that.
Agreed. But at least we got that nice moment where Lilo, when she came out and wore her white, I was like, oh, she's wearing white. And then Megan said, I bet she'll grab a flower.
Yeah, she's going to have a flower like her mum, and then she gives flowers.
That's so sweet.
I like that bit as well when Stitch gets the burning photograph and gives it back to her.
Yeah,
she's she says, "Don't no, but nobody touches this. This is mine." And then he brings it to her after
at the end
house
and
exploded.
the end credits where you've got all the pictures of like their future together, the whole family, and then the last shot is the burnt picture of the family, and the burnt corner they've put a picture of Stitch to show that Stitch is part of the family right at the end of the end credits of the first film.
Yeah,
my boy,
that's adorable.
See. What are you doing? If you haven't seen this, go and watch it now. We're all in complete agreement. This is a great one. Right, well, it's been another Disney discussion. I don't know if we want to do spinny wheels or anything like that, or we're going to leave that for another time.
It'll be fun we'll figure it out behind the scenes, and then the next episode will just be whatever it is.
We'll find out. But
Whatever
thank
you
you
want.
again, Natalie. Thank you for joining us on this
Thanks for
extra
having me.
special episode. I think it was very nice for them to know you outside of the shadow of Andy and his angriness. It was nice to see you in person again. But thank you for listening, everybody, and check us out next time on another Disney discussion.